Right, let's get one thing straight. Prison sentences, they're supposed to be punishment, right? A timeout for adults who really messed up. But sometimes, just sometimes, the legal system gets a little, how do we say, unhinged. We're talking sentences that make a millennium look like a coffee break. Sentences so long, they make you wonder if someone accidentally added a few zeros. Welcome to our countdown of the top 10 longest prison sentences ever handed down. We'll explore what these individuals did to receive such lengthy sentences and whether they ever got out. Spoiler alert, some of them didn't. And to be clear, when we say didn't, we mean they died in prison. Because that's another thing about these sentences. They're often longer than the average human lifespan. First up, we have Terry Nichols. You might remember him from such horrific events as the Oklahoma City bombing. Now, we're not here to downplay the severity of that tragedy. 168 lives were lost, including 19 children. It was a despicable act of terrorism. And Nichols, the guy who helped mix the fertilizer bomb in a rented Ryder truck, yeah, he deserves to be behind bars. But 161 consecutive life sentences? That's like the judge looked at the concept of life in prison and said, "Hold my beer." It's essentially saying, we want you to live forever, just so you can die in prison 161 times. Next up is a man who makes your skin crawl. A man whose crimes are so reprehensible. They're practically unmentionable in polite company. I'm talking, of course, about Charles Scott Robinson. This monster received a 30,000-year sentence for what can only be described as a parent's worst nightmare. Multiple counts of child molestation. Now, I know what you're thinking. 30,000 years? Was he molesting time travelers? Did he somehow find a wormhole to a kindergarten in the distant future? No. The answer is much more straightforward. Robinson was convicted on multiple counts, and they just kept stacking those sentences on top of each other, like a horrifying game of Jenga. Let's move on, shall we? Because frankly, talking about Charles Scott Robinson for too long makes me want to shower with bleach. So let's talk about Allan Wayne McLaurin. This charming individual racked up a sentence of 21,250 years. His crimes? Oh, just the usual laundry list of human misery, rape, robbery, kidnapping. It's as if he looked at the legal code and said, "I'll take one of everything, please, hold the humanity." Now, I'm not a mathematician, but I'm pretty sure 21,250 years is longer than most civilizations have even existed. Chapter 4. Dudley Wayne Kyzer, 10,000 years for a gruesome night. Next up is Dudley Wayne Kyzer. Now, 10,000 years might seem like a walk in the park compared to some of these other sentences, but trust me, it's not. Kyzer earned his spot on this list for a particularly gruesome murder. On Halloween night, no less, he killed his estranged wife, her mother, and a college student who just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. The details are brutal, and the judge clearly wanted to send a message. Chapter 5. James Eagan Holmes. Life plus 3,318 years. James Eagan Holmes, the Aurora Theater shooter. This one hits close to home for a lot of people. 12 people dead, 70 injured. His sentence: 12 life sentences plus 3,318 years, just for good measure. It's like the judge wanted to make absolutely sure that Holmes would never see the light of day again. And frankly, who could blame him? Chapter 6. Martin Bryant, 35 lifetimes and then some. Now let's hop across the pond to Australia, shall we? Martin Bryant, the perpetrator of the Port Arthur massacre. This guy, armed with a semi-automatic rifle, opened fire on tourists and locals alike, killing 35 people and injuring 23 others. His sentence? 35 life sentences plus 1,035 years, without the possibility of parole. Australia doesn't mess around when it comes to gun violence. Chapter 7. Bobby Joe Long, 28 lifetimes cut short. Bobby Joe Long, also known as the classified ad rapist, terrorized Florida in the 1980s, killing at least 10 women. He received 28 life sentences plus 99 years. But here's the thing, Long didn't die of old age in prison. He was executed in 2019. Which begs the question, what's the point of a 28 life sentence if you're just going to execute the guy anyway? Chapter 8. Ariel Castro, the Cleveland Kidnapper. This monster held 3 young women captive in his home for over a decade. He received a life sentence plus 1,000 years. But justice, in this case, was swift and self-inflicted. Castro committed suicide in his prison cell just 1 month into his sentence. Chapter 9. Richard Speck, a name that sends chills down your spine. In 1966, he broke into a Chicago townhouse and brutally murdered 8 student nurses. He received 1,200 years in prison. Speck died in prison in 1991, but not before a chilling video surfaced of him bragging about his crimes and showing off what appeared to be female breasts he'd had surgically implanted while incarcerated. Chapter 10. Finally, we have Charles Cullen, the Angel of Death. This former nurse confessed to killing up to 40 patients under his care. He received 18 consecutive life sentences. Cullen's case is particularly disturbing because it highlights the vulnerability of hospital patients and the trust we place in healthcare professionals. So there you have it, 10 of the longest prison sentences ever handed down. We've seen the depths of human cruelty, the consequences of unspeakable acts, but these sentences, as staggering as they are, also raise questions about the purpose of punishment. Is it about rehabilitation, retribution, or simply incapacitation? These are complex questions with no easy answers. But one thing is clear. These sentences, these numbers, represent real lives, real victims, and real pain. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this.